After making waves for his decision not to participate in testing at the NFL Combine, Arizona wide receiver Tetairoa McMillan returned to headlines after clocking in a 4.48 40-yard dash at his school's pro day. Now, this sparked conversation as to whether or not Tet McMillan deserved to be in the conversation for the Patriots' number 4 overall pick. McMillan is still just 21 years old and won't turn 22 until his rookie season. He also offers fantastic size at 6'4", 219 pounds, which both rank in the high 80th percentile among wide receivers. McMillan also has huge 10-inch hands, which comes in at the 77th percentile, although his arms are a bit subpar at 31.5 inches, which clocks in at the 41st percentile at his position. And while McMillan's mid 4.5 40-yard dash time isn't great for the wide receiver position, his speed isn't how he wins on the field. Speed is a gift in the NFL, but quickness is an absolute necessity, and McMillan has pretty crazy change of direction skills for someone his size. This allows him to quickly snap off routes and make defenders miss after the catch. When he's facing press coverage, McMillan's unfair combo of size and elusiveness is most evident on slants. Take this clip from early against rival Arizona State. McMillan gets his defender leaning off the line of scrimmage with a quick jab step outside, but the defender stays tight to his hip and contests the slant throw. McMillan snatches the ball out of the air, spins out of a tackle, then lowers his shoulder to drop another defender and throws a stiff arm on his way out of bounds. One of the things that makes McMillan so dangerous after the catch, on top of being physically imposing and being able to somehow juke defenders at his size, is the ability to also find and exploit space. That was on full display on this long 3rd and 10 touchdown against New Mexico, with Arizona down 7 points just before halftime. McMillan initially lines up in the slot, where he spent about 30% of his time at Arizona and hits his landmark downfield right between the hashes. But he sees that the safety buzzing down is actually cutting off his route, so McMillan alertly drifts laterally into space, gives his quarterback a window to throw the pass, then accelerates past New Mexico's coverage, which, to be fair, isn't the most athletic group he's going to face, but does show McMillan's ability to find and exploit weaknesses in zone coverage and then build up speed to turn them into touchdowns. Tet McMillan dominated the middle of the field in college, and that was true of every level of the defense. Now, he wasn't as effective against man coverage when he was targeted downfield, but he did show that with his combination of size, catch radius, and toughness, he was able to make tough grabs even with defenders right on his hip. Take this play from Arizona's 2-minute drill against Texas Tech. McMillan gets off the line of scrimmage, but breaks off his route a little bit early and doesn't maximize his physicality to get into the defender's frame and create space off the route break. That allows the defender to stay on his hip through the throw, but once again, McMillan shows his willingness to extend even in tight quarters, makes the catch, and then, while spotting the safety coming down to lay the wood, manages to dip just enough to protect himself and avoid a much bigger hit than what he ultimately ends up taking. Between his size, ball skills, toughness, yards after the catch, route running ability, quickness, and ability to maximize and exploit space when facing defenses, there's a lot to like about Tet McMillan's game, and I wouldn't sit here and say that I'd be disappointed if the Patriots took him at number 4 overall. That said, there are limitations to his game that I think must be addressed. For starters, McMillan does struggle against press man coverage. This is something that I think can be fixed in the NFL if he is able to maximize his physicality, which as we saw in the last clip, isn't something he did consistently. McMillan doesn't always play to his size, and there's some parts of his route running that lack nuance, especially on dig routes where he's got to break down and fight off contact to keep defenders from sticking to his hip. While McMillan's ceiling is probably higher than anybody else's in this draft class, and I could absolutely see him and Drake May becoming a dynamic duo, left tackle is a much bigger need for the Patriots, and a position that's not easy to fill because there's so few body types that fit the left tackle position. Will Campbell and even Armand Membu aren't perfect projections for the left tackle role, but when it comes to Tet McMillan, there are other big-bodied receivers who excel after the catch and can create space in their routes even more consistently than him. One of my personal favorite targets would be Iowa State wide receiver Jaden Higgins, who offers another big frame and long arms, as well as physicality to bully defenders in routes, but I think he uses that to his advantage more than what we see from McMillan. If Higgins is someone the Patriots can get at the end of the first round or even in the second round, I just think it makes more sense for a team that could either benefit from some type of trade down or from getting the best left tackle they can find, rather than getting a wide receiver with a skill set that can maybe be replicated, at least early on, by a player within the Patriots' range with that second pick. Now, if the Patriots do decide to move back to, say, pick 10, Tet's still on the board, and they take a swing, I'm all for it. Again, I really like Tet McMillan's skill set and think it would translate well with Drake May. Not only didn't McMillan consistently capitalize on his size as a route runner, I also thought that it was a bit lacking at the catch point. Now, don't get me wrong, he made some phenomenal grabs, and his quarterback hung him out to dry more often than not, but for a guy of his size and his skill set, I didn't think McMillan capitalized on quite as many opportunities as he could have. McMillan's hands also aren't perfect, as he had 7 drops last season, many of which correlated with the fact that he tends to look upfield before securing catches. McMillan also had a pretty bad fumble in one game, so I do wonder if ball security and securing passes is going to be something that he potentially struggles with early on in his career. But it wouldn't be something that I'd harp on too much, as again, McMillan has really impressive ball skills and great mitts, so that shouldn't be too much of a consistent concern. Just want to get that technique down after the catch. Thank you all so much for watching. Make sure to become a member of Patriots Press Pass on YouTube to get full access to videos like this and much more really fun content. I cannot wait for you to see it.